Pretty Little Liars, a television series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we moved, so if you're watching this on YouTube, just ignore the mess in the back. It's fine. We're fine. We're doing fine.
You're seeing nothing over there.
We're just a little sleep deprived. We're a little tired. We've been unpacking for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or it feels like a week. I guess we moved on, it's almost been a week.
Almost a week.
It doesn't matter. That does not matter to any of you at home. But anyway, we have 2 new episodes of season 7 for you.
Yes, we do.
Of Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, that were mostly... at least I was just kind of like, okay, it's fine. There's not really too much happening. And then the end. And someone drives through the car and once again rescues the episode.
Yes.
I don't think I predicted that he would die this quick.
I don't think so either.
Dead. Is he dead?
Would you like to know, or are you just... What do you think? His face went through a windshield.
he spits up a bunch of blood.
We saw the body.
That's true. So yeah, probably. He's probably dead. Probably safe to say he's dead.
These episodes and this plot line with Allie is literally the most disturbing plot line to me.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Literally had a nightmare last night about being just institutionalized against my will. Because it's just horrific. It's horrific also because it, not in this way. Obviously Pretty Little Liars is a lot more humorous and also on the nose, but this happened to people all the time, especially women when women weren't behaving the way people wanted women to behave, their husbands would institutionalize them.
Yep, this is absolutely playing within that wheelbox tool.
It's playing with that theme.
Thank you.
And that true, I guess that actually happens.
Yeah, real domestic abuse horror stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is absolutely nightmarish.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Herman just spinning around on the couch and staring down the camera for a minute.
He's the star.
He was like, I don't like this topic. It makes me sad.
I mean, absolutely. Of course it makes you sad. It's absolutely brutal. And like I said, when you get that they're just so bad at this, we of course cut back to everybody else being like, well, of course she did it. And then Allie just being drugged up, exactly, tortured into the hospital. I have some questions about the end of the episode 2 framing, because I assumed, I'm like, oh, she's just going to be out in the next episode. Absolutely not. She's behind the chair. She's behind the door.
What do you mean?
So at the end of episode 2, she's getting wheeled out.
Allie was?
Yes.
Why don't I remember this?
She gets wheeled out on a stretcher.
Oh.
They we see a first person POV of someone putting a syringe, medicine or whatever in her IV, and then she gets wheeled out.
I thought that was in episode 2.
Uh-huh.
But then I thought you meant the second episode that we're talking about, but you meant season 7, episode 2. Yeah. Yes, I do. I thought the first time I watched that, I thought she died. I thought they were killing her. I thought she was going into the light.
It looks exactly like that. I assumed that the light that she was going out to was daylight and freedom, and that someone was we were getting that she was being taken out and potentially to freedom, but it was going to be that she was still captured by someone else. Not the case.
No, but we will find out where she was going.
Yeah.
What that was. That is actually something that we get information, or we can piece together.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I have some theories.
Oh, really? Yeah. You have theories.
Just my job. Before we get into the summaries, another call in case... Jesus Christ. Another request, if you or someone you know would be great to make the podcast art or podcast theme for when we do our Lost season. So
there's a lot of time in there.
Yes, absolutely.
We still got to get through this. We got to get through the Perfectionist.
And Original Sin and... Oh God, what's it called?
The next season of
Summer
Original
School. Keep calling it that, but it's not.
They're going to hire you for marketing.
Yeah.
Why don't you start recapping the episode, baby?
Yeah, because I try not to look at it, so I've not looked up the name.
I'll look up the name for us if you want.
Sounds good. Okay. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. It's not updated.
Oh.
I didn't have my Google Doc open, and there we go. All right, season 2 episode. Sometimes I open it again, it'll default to the last time I opened it, which is the last time we recorded. So it's like, oh, it looks like I didn't take any notes. But,
but it's because you take the notes on my computer, and it's the Google Doc.
Exactly.
A little behind the scenes for everybody. This is a weird episode.
A little tidbit for you out there.
This is how Google Docs work. I'm sure you all know.
How fun.
Only a few of us predate the Google Doc.
Exactly. It's because some of us don't have, Microsoft Word licenses. We can't be sharing that way.
I have a Word license.
Yeah, you do.
But you don't.
Exactly. Anyways, season 7, episode 2, episode 142, Bedlam. It's a intense name for a very low-key episode.
Bedlam is what's happening inside of our heads right now.
That's right. We open on the David Lynch Lodge Highway opening scene. This is exactly the same, where it's like a POV of the car going down a highway with the headlights on in the dark. It has the good David Bowie song at the beginning. So Lost Highway is pretty good. Not my favorite Lynch, but it's Mary driving Hanna in the car. She's taking Hanna to the friends, but she tries to get her to go to the police instead. Mary's like, oh, you're a friend of Allison's. Hanna says Jessica never mentioned she had a sister, and I'm sorry, this is brain fog in my head. It sounds like a pickup line. Mary says families... Oh, hush, I'm her mother. Mary says families have secrets, and sometimes they're people. Imagine that. Hanna asks if she's one of those secret people, and Mary says, not anymore. Hanna's back with the friends. They want her to go to the doctors, but she doesn't want to, have to lie to them. Spencer asks about Mary picking her up, and Hanna asks if she's actually who she says she is. They explain Mary's background, and Hanna says it's been her who's been after us this entire time. But, I don't understand, why, she, ended up picking me up. Fitz says we gave her Charlotte's killer, and they all say they think it's Allison. Caleb sits next to her and hands her back her engagement ring from Jordan. Fitz goes to answer the door, and Arya ignores a text from Liam. Fitz comes back with a bouquet. Then he's like, this was all that was left of the door, and has a note from AD that says, glad we're on the same team.
My favorite thing about scenes at Spencer's house, you see her back door by the kitchen. You see all the doors from their backyard. You've never seen her fucking front door.
No.
The floor plan of that house makes no sense to me. Somewhere on that first floor, there is her father's office.
Wait. Is the front door not what opens to the kitchen?
What do you mean? Like that little side door right there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think that's a side door because they keep their rain jackets and stuff there.
Oh,
Rich people wouldn't keep their rain jackets next to the front door.
All right.
I said that.
Where is the front? Damn, these layouts are
around
so
around the corner. Yeah, their houses don't make any sense.
We need one of those architectural digests for the homes on the show.
Instead of their actual homes.
Exactly. We're going to see Spencer Hastings' house. Only 7 years later. Emily Spencer and Caleb take Hanna back off to Lucas's apartment. Emily asks Spencer to have her help her for a moment, and Spencer sees that Hanna and Caleb are alone and is annoyed by this. Hanna is feeling hopeless about and what comes next. She tells Caleb about how he's always made her feel safe, because they're talking about the lodge moment, and Caleb's like, oh, is that what happened to us there? Us just going back to our old ways for a moment? And Hanna says yes. Emily can't find Spencer and goes to look for her in the hall. She finds Spencer is crying, and Emily tries to comfort her. But Spencer's like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. Emily wants to check on Allison, but Spencer shoots it down because how would they explain to Rollins that they gave Allison up? Caleb asks to take Spencer home, and she says yes. Spencer asks Emily to keep an eye on Hanna, and they both agree that she has, quote, the dollhouse look. Emily goes inside the apartment to hang with Hanna. She tries to get her to call Jordan, but she says no. Caleb tries to talk to Spencer, but Spencer is working on something for her mom on her laptop. Spencer's like, I'm glad Hannah's safe. It was completely unsafe. It was a stupid idea. I should have stopped her. Caleb says, she's an aircraft carrier. Hard to stop her when she's moving, when she gets moving. Except interesting for a fact that someone aided and abetted this aircraft carrier. He asks Spencer to come to bed, and Spencer says in a minute, as he walks away, she cries. Emily's asleep on Lucas's couch when she wakes up to a call from an unknown caller. She hears a woman gasping over the phone. It's Allison, who says, "Help me, Emily," and "Emily, I need you," or "Em, I need you." She then hears sounds of struggle, and someone makes Allison hang up the phone. Emily tries to visit Allison at Welby. I wrote Wembley in one of my notes earlier, and it made me laugh afterwards, just in the middle of the pitch. But only family members are allowed to visit her now. Emily walks over.
I always get Wembley and Wimbledon confused.
Wembley, old-ass soccer stadium.
Okay.
Wimbledon, also on grass, tennis.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm gonna avoid tangents about tennis.
The grass versus clay debacles.
That they're like different courts. There are different Grand Slams have different court styles.
I know about different court styles because of Mario Tennis. If you asked me anything about actual tennis, I mean, besides the names of some of the players, I couldn't help you.
Mario, Luigi, Peach, Boo, Donkey Kong Jr.
Toad.
Yeah, change a court. Emily walks over to talk to Rollins and asks about seeing Allison. He says he made...
Imagine Pretty Little Liars, but Mario characters. That's why I started giggling.
Peaches are captured again. Oh, no.
Is Spencer Mario?
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah.
Or is Melissa?
Absolutely. A is always Bowser.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly Bowser.
Yeah.
Melissa might be like Bowser Jr.
Okay, you can keep reading. Sorry.
Just bad vibes.
Just giggling to myself.
Emily walks over to talk to Rollins and asks about seeing Allison. He's like, well, I made the instructions, and Allison would be better off in isolation. As soon as I think that she can have visitors, I'll call you. He walks away to take a call, and Emily sees a janitor looking at a phone that was hanging on the wall. Lucas and Hanna are hanging at the Radley. Lucas asks how Allison is doing, and Hannah's like, I wish people would stop asking about her. And Lucas is like, ooh, okay. He's like, did you get my package? Hanna asks why, he's doing this. He's like, you shouldn't be helping me, doing all this. Shouldn't you be into private spacecrafts? Ha, little dig. Still happening with big CEOs. Lucas asks, why are you putting up so many blockers for someone trying to do something nice for you? Hanna says, I don't want to be someone I'm not. And Lucas is like, well, I think you would actually really like this. And I know, just think on it. But also we have a short time frame to get the business plan submitted.
No, she doesn't want him to think she's someone she's not.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, but I think you would actually be into this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the clear thing.
Yeah. I was just making sure.
Emily begs Spencer to try and help Allison. She doesn't want to tell Rollins, but wants to ask Mary to get them in. Spencer says, we think she's Uber A. I think this is the first time we actually hear this, Uber A. And you want to ask her? We can't take that chance. Arya breaks up with Liam at her parents' house. Arya says, I have a lot of unresolved things in my life, and it isn't fair to you. It isn't about the book or Fitz. Liam doesn't seem to buy it and is upset. He says, well, I have a surprise for you too. I'm back on the book and I'll be editing and helping things keep on track and so you don't have any problems. And Arya's like, do we have a problem about this? And Arya's like, I don't know, do we? Liam's like, well, you worked hard on this. I want to see you get something you wanted. And Arya's like, well, we'll make it work. Anna's wearing her engagement ring again while looking at Lucas's papers. She has a flashback. She's angry on the phone, trying to book a flight. She's got all his papers at the bar. Jordan, who she doesn't know yet, puts his drink down on a napkin she was taking notes on. His glass ruined the phone number she had written down, but he helps her decipher it. He flirts with her, and it was kind of his plan to talk to her, and she ends up falling for it, and they have dinner. Arya, Emily, and Spencer ask Rollins to see Allison. He says she needs time to heal. I'm sorry. If you don't understand, I'm her husband and doctor. And Spencer's like, well, I don't think that's the best combination, do you? He then stakes his claim about how he's been around for 5 years while they've been gone. And he's like, I even spoke to Jason, and he agreed. He also won't let Mary near to see Allison. He gets a call and walks off. Story of the episode. Friends get a text from AD. It says, she's mine now. No takebacks. No do-overs. Jordan comes into the office and finds Hanna. He's annoyed with how different Hanna, all made up and looking good in his office, trying to seduce him at work. He's annoyed with how distant she's been and asks why she keeps going back to Rosewood. And Hanna wants to go back to the bar where they first met and start all over again. Emily still...
He's very like positive about that though. Like he's annoyed, but he's just like, I wish he wouldn't. It's not like he's not like whining or like,
no, he's just like, okay, this is really nice, but like,
let's get you back here.
Totally. Like you've been absent on our life. Arya catches up with Fitz. Apparently, Toby is trying to follow up with Jason to corroborate Mary's story since no one seems to remember Jessica had a sister. Fitz promises to make it work with Liam and grabs her hand, and then they are at a park bench, and we see Liam down the road watch them from his car.
I love this because the entire show, Arya and Ezra just like held hands in public or like would be like one town over doing sketchy shit. And it's like, what? But then they're adults. Like it's literally like totally chill and legal now. And she kind of lies to Liam. Well, she does lie to Liam. And then they immediately get caught. So it's like, do the citizens of Rosewood not look around?
That's what I was going to say, is because Liam's not from Rosewood.
Yeah, he doesn't have that blinders on. He's not like, oh yeah, there always is a teenage girl making out with her teacher in the middle of town. We don't ask questions. It's not at school.
Exactly. They have freedom to do what they want on their own schedules.
It's very funny because I was like, oh, finally someone. Someone looked.
This has just been happening.
You do it in public.
Fitz and Liam go through his notes on the book. Liam says the main character comes across as predatory and then starts like just ripping into Fitz's life, but like as a proxy through the story, which Fitz isn't confused because he's like, well, I didn't write about my inappropriate relationship. I wrote about my recent one.
The age gap isn't even that big.
Exactly.
It's like, how big was it?
Oh, right. That's a literal line, right?
Yeah, like the age gap wasn't even that big.
Mary visits Spencer at the Hastings office. She asks about Hanna and says she feels bad for not taking her to police or hospital the night she picked her up. Spencer says, why didn't you take her anywhere? Mary's like, my experience is like with my experiences, those places aren't always the best. Spencer asks what she means. Mary says, I spent considerable time in Radley. Spencer asks why. Mary says, I'll tell you so you can understand why I'm worried about Allison. Jessica, when we were younger, was babysitting a 10-month-old baby and called me to come help. He had a cold. When she got there, the baby was asleep after a bath. Jessica got Mary to stay instead of her and Jessica went off with her boyfriend. The parents come home and they found the baby dead. Jessica said, well, the baby was fine when I left, and they believed Jessica. And Mary's like, they always believe Jessica. And she had a choice to go to Radley instead of prison, and Mary's parents told her she'd be safe there. Fitz tells Arya Liam was angry and he went in with a hatchet on the book and like is kind of digging on other things. Arya's like, well, I don't understand. Fitz is like, how much does Liam actually know about us? Anne and Jordan find that the bar is gone and Hannah's completely broken down about this and yells and is like, I need this to be there. Jordan's like, hey, what's wrong? And Hannah's like, I was going to make it right. I'm a one-person demolition. And Jordan says like, I'll do whatever you want to like, I can for you, like to make this work. Like, is that what you want? And Hanna then says, I'm sorry, and hands him back the engagement ring. And they talk, but we can't hear what they say. Emily's filling out a job application at the Radley and sees Mary. Emily introduces herself and asks why she's here. Mary says, I was thinking about this place and wondering what it looked like now. Emily says she can't see Allison. Mary's like, oh, Rollins won't let me see her either. Oh, crap. Accidentally hit the edit button, so then it like jumped me way away. Here we are. And he's like, Rollins won't let me see her either. Emily asks if she's okay with how Rollins is taking care of her. Mary says, oh yes, he's a professional, but it takes getting used to like him being both her husband and doctor. Emily asks if she could talk to someone at Welby to see her, and Mary says, maybe you and I can go together and talk. Lucas apologizes to Hanna for their conversation earlier, and Hannah's like, no, I want this more than anything else. And then he notices that her ring is gone. Arya asks why Liam freaked out, and Liam figured out on his own the connections between Arya and Fitz. He's like, I think you were seduced by your English teacher while you were in high school. And Arya's like, that's not how it happened. There's no way I can really possibly explain it to you. And Liam asks, like, well, how do you explain it to yourself? Arya's like, well, I used to think that what if I had a button and all the complicated things that happened to me would just be cleaned up, but like if I pushed it, I'd be gone too. I'd be like, I wouldn't be the person I am now, and I am because of like what I went through. And he's like, I wasn't saying it was a personal failing. I'm saying something happened to you.
A lot of Arya's life happened to her, and that girl is unfazed.
Yeah.
Dead.
Oh, she's phased, but like, she's coming at you.
Box with a dead body. fine.
That's true. That doesn't come up much.
It never comes up. And like, I could go on and on about this, because if I was ever placed in a box with a dead body and almost pushed off the back of a train, y'all would hate me. I would be insufferable about it because that's so traumatizing.
Oh, it's horrible.
And then
Enclosed space and
the
body.
dollhouse.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And then coming out of the dollhouse and like being like, oh, I picked this person, or this person picked me. Like we decided who was toughest. Like, yeah, like the psychological damage of that. Oh, I would be so fucking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I process by talking. So like, that's it. That's all.
That's all anybody's gonna hear about.
Yeah. I'm sure, you know, with the right therapy and mental health help.
But also, I feel like, you know, if you really want,
comes up.
That's a good, you know, that I feel like there's many reasons of just being able to talk it out, and I feel like also that is above and beyond.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely, there's more than talk therapy is probably involved there.
Oh, I just meant like talking about it all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, a little EMDR. Like,
Allison wakes up and sees Emily there. Allison says, "You were supposed to wake me up. I can't move. I think something's wrong with me. We're going to miss our flight." And he's like, "You called me last night. Do you remember? You were scared." And Allison's like, "I did? This is a scary place. There's this lady in here that cries all night. Am I in Radley?" Emily says, "No." Mary steps forward and Allison says, "Mommy, why did you leave me? I woke up with dirt all over me and you didn't help. You were wrong about Elliot. He's not like how you said." Then Rollins just bursts in. He's like, "I didn't authorize this. No visitors without my permission." And everyone is forced out as Allison screams. Emily asks what happened to her to Rollins. And Rollins asks to speak to Mary alone and just walks away, ignoring Emily. He tells Mary she's not supposed to be here. And Mary's like, "Well, I've been calling you for 2 days." Emily sees them on the other side of some fog glass, but like can't hear them at all. Rollins says, "You being here isn't part of the plan." And Mary says, "Neither is what you're doing. You've gone too far. Like, I can't believe what you're doing to the poor girl." Rollins says, "You got what you wanted. The money is yours." Mary says, "Not yet." Rollins like, "Well, then stop wasting my time." Caleb comes home and finds Spencer drinking. Spencer got fired from her old job. To which I ask, well, so did she just play hooky from her job to like work on her mom's campaign?
I think she came home. She was given an amount of time to come home. And then because she couldn't go back because of the trial and stuff, like eventually they kind of were like, "Oh,
okay,
like, you've abused our generosity."
policy.
Yeah.
Caleb asks, "Well, what's next for you?" And Spencer's like, "I don't know. Maybe I'll go with my mom to Harrisburg." And Caleb's like, "Well, what's stopping you?" Spencer's like, "Well, this town has a gravity. Like, oh, how's Hanna, by the way?" And Caleb's like, "Well, I haven't talked to her." Spencer asks him if they made a mistake getting together. And Caleb's like, "No, whatever we did, it wasn't a mistake. It was real." Spencer's like, "Well, why are you talking about it in the past tense?" And she's like, "I think I made a mistake." Spencer gets a text from Allison that she's worse. Or from Emily that Allison is worse.
It's like SOS, I'm bad.
Jesus Christ.
Us today.
Emily is texting all the friends that something is up about Mary. And Rollins, and asks if Rollins is in charge. We see Hanna ignore her phone. Allison is asleep, and we get a first-person POV shot of someone injecting something into her IV. We then see she's being wheeled out of her room and like to a white light. And as they go out of the hospital doors, there's like a nursery rhyme playing. The end.
Okay. Let's talk relationships, because that's really all we got from this. I guess actually no. First, let's start with, where do you think Allie is going? When? What happened there? Or was it just all a hallucination?
Yeah, I assume that's. It's interesting that they like took her somewhere, because I assume that whatever they were injecting in there helped not trank her for like the next episode where she like attacks Rollins at the beginning. Like, I think there was something there of like foiling Rollins's plans. Is my vibe.
Okay.
That's my vibe. That's my idea, is that whatever was happening there with wheeling her out was being like, okay, we're going to do something to Allison so that she can then try and break out. Essentially trying to help Allison.
Who's doing it then?
AD.
Okay.
Because I feel like AD is playing antagonistic to our evildoers at the moment.
Speaking of our evildoers then, Miri Drake coming to Spencer about Allie. What's the angle here? Why'd she show up at the campaign headquarters to talk to Spencer?
I think also I think that's also similar, like trying to stop Rollins
Mm-hmm.
because she's like, well, shit, what is this guy doing? Like, I didn't want this. Yeah, she's like not cool with like where Rollins is going with the plan and that he's going off book and that she can't control him
Okay.
because it seems like he is going radically off course.
Mm-hmm. What is Mary, or sorry, not what is, but is her story that she told Spencer about the dead baby true?
I think it's true from her perspective,
Do you think
but we're gonna get like way more about that.
Do you think
later.
Jessica hurt the baby? Do you think she hurt the baby? Do you think anyone hurt the baby? Do you think the baby just died?
Oh, someone has to hurt the baby, like accidentally, like similar to how we like find out that like Charlotte just was a child and messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we find out that Jessica had like just roughly taken care of the baby and then accidentally killed it.
You think Jessica accidentally killed the baby?
Yeah.
And then blamed her sister? Okay.
I feel like we're getting the vibe that like this is the unmasking of how horrible Jessica was.
Fair enough.
And I think we're going to get a whole lot more of Jessica being absolutely manipulative toward her sister.
Okay. And you think that stuff is true? Do you think Mary Drake is the victim, I guess, of Jessica's bullying?
Yeah. Yeah. But that Jessica has gotten her hand, or Mary has gotten her hands dirty plenty of times since then.
Okay.
I think it's following a similar thing of like Charlotte.
Like mother, like daughter.
Yeah. This person, we get this like whole backstory of like why they are the way they are.
Okay. What do you think the drama is between Mary Drake and Rollins right now, besides him going off book? Like, what is she waiting for with him?
I think they both want the money from
the Karasimi group.
Karasimi group, yeah. So now they're both thieves in that sense, and she has a wider thing of like trying to get revenge on family and like the De Laurentises, but I think she wants to rob them and take away their money, essentially, like take away their standing, expose all their lies, whereas Rollins just seems like a sadistic psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just happened to get in league with a sadistic psychopath.
What do you think his motivation with Allie is? Is it all just about how much he loves Charlotte?
No, I think he's a sadistic psychopath.
Fair enough. You answered it. You already answered it.
I think he's got someone in his like hand that he can like hurt and abuse.
This is like the Riverdale serial killer gene.
I don't know where he got it from.
That's true.
But I think it's something like that. And it's like, yes, and that's why I killed Charlotte. But we're not going to get that because he's dead. He went through a windshield.
Why would they not all just be constantly trying to call Jason? And also, like,
I know, on their own.
No one knows where Jason is.
Why?
I know we find him in the next episode, but no one knows. Yeah, Spencer talks to him on the phone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So then it makes sense when she finally does. It's like, why is Toby following up on this? I mean, I know we had to apparently explain why he's not in the episode, but like Toby's not your A person to put on it.
But he's a cop. I think he's trying to corroborate Mary Drake's story, like for the police.
Yeah, but he was going to follow up with Jason. I guess it makes sense as part of that. But hey, Jason, did you have an aunt named Mary, by the way? He's like, I didn't know I had another sibling.
I dated my cousin's sister, so
people have left me in the dark, and I have only gotten hurt.
Poor Jason.
Seriously.
How long do you think until we see Jason again?
Oh, I was expecting him to pop up very soon. Maybe next week.
I don't remember what episode he comes in at. I do know this is when we get Jesus Jason.
Long hair.
Long hair.
I've been waiting for this for a while because that was the first image I think you showed me.
You looked up
actor change.
You looked up, yeah. Well, and you looked up pictures of Jason for your thing, and I think the one of him with long hair came up, and I was like, because you were like, oh, did the actor change or something like that, and I was like, yeah, and also like, he only looks like that in season 7.
Well, you had definitely told me about the actor change because you're like, this is not my Jason.
Yeah. Well, while we were doing the podcast.
How did I get here?
Okay. How is Rollins allowed to be her doctor and her husband? Is that allowed? I don't know. I haven't Googled this. I did not look this up. This is a zero effort research kind of energy vibe this week.
At least no one cares at Welby. Everybody's like, wow, Dr. Rollins is doing such a good job. No oversight.
Absolutely none.
No one cares.
What do we think?
That's like
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, the other thing of just like the general mistrust of caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
And the way like we treat the mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long do we think Allie will be in Welby? Do you think she's going to go back after the next episode?
I don't think so, because now Rollins is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So there's I don't think so. But like what her next move is. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna go back. I think she's gonna have to figure out how to be on her. I guess she's gonna try and lie low. So I assume also, well, this will be for the next episode, but we're also getting caught up on, who they're burying, one, but then also it wipes off the board my theory of like who everybody is saying is coming to get Allison in that flash forward scene from season 6.
Mm-hmm. So do you think they're burying Rollins in that scene?
That's my assumption.
Okay. Let's talk about the stupid love triangle.
Uh-huh.
What's happening with Hanna, Caleb, Spencer? Are Spencer and Caleb going to be able to stay together?
Absolutely not.
Is Hanna going to tell anyone about her breakup with Jordan?
Eventually. I think we are now in the portion after the time jump where it's like, all right, let's get everybody back into the familiar pairings that we know them and that everybody likes, and we're just going to do that again. Now we're going to get rid of all these fake characters we introduced, like, because no one cares about Jordan, no one cares about Liam. We're just going to put everybody back together, and, we just put them apart and put them with other people just to give us something to write.
What about Yvonne?
Yeah, she's going to dump Toby at some point.
Oh, you think she's going to dump Toby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Toby is absolutely incapable of standing up for doing the right thing for himself and both of them in that way. He's absolutely incapable of doing that. Of being like, well, it's time to call it quits. He's going to be like, well, no, I don't understand why I can't keep secrets about what I'm doing from you.
Fair.
Yeah, that's the Toby way.
The Toby way.
It's so infuriating.
Let's talk about Hannah's little seducing then freak out moment that leads to the breakup. Because, it seems like she's trying to start fresh, her relationship. And then because the bar's gone, she's like, we can't.
She has to set up this perfect scene in her head to make things look like how they're supposed to be. And maybe she'll remember all those feelings she had for Jordan.
And it's then oh, well, nothing, since Jordan and I restarted.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the Caleb thing didn't even happen.
Right, exactly. I can just move past. We can pretend that we're just going to restart and we're going to have all these good feelings again. Not how it works.
No.
And Jay, you know what? Sucks to lose Jordan. It is very funny. All the new characters are just mostly nice people.
Mostly if these guys had shown up in the earlier seasons, everyone would have been like, oh, pick them.
Yeah. Jordan even had
Then again, I don't know. We had Jake and everyone was still like, Ezria.
Yeah.
I love Jake.
Y'all don't know what you had.
He could dance.
He can dance. He did karate.
Do you think Liam can dance?
No. Liam does not seem like a dancer.
Okay, speaking of Liam.
Speaking of someone that I understand Liam in a lot of sense. Yeah.
You too.
A fellow nerd.
Okay, what do you think's going to happen with him being editor?
Yeah, I think he's going to eventually he's going to have to either drop off the book or get kicked off the book. But he's going to be dragging all of their conflicting feelings about the Ezria relationship up for as long as possible.
Do you think it's so funny? Because to me, it's the show knows that what they did was bad.
Yeah.
And they're but it's okay because it wouldn't make Arya. And it's it's okay to have been traumatized and wish it didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to be grateful for the things that people have done to you.
If I didn't know where people ended up in this show, I would be more charitable to this moment of like, oh, they're trying to start a dialogue here.
It's like every time they try to start a dialogue, they and close the book.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Ezra was A? Like, that would have been a good conversation. Like, see this is why you don't date creepy old men. I'm like a creepy old man. He was 23.
Right,
but
exactly.
For her, he's a creepy old man.
And also the thing is, too, is just like, well, I think you were seduced by your teacher. And it's like, that's not how it happened. See, he dated my friend first.
It's called grooming. First of all.
Yeah. Okay. See, he dated my friend first when she was 14, but
he didn't know.
He didn't know. And then I found out, and she was so interesting that like he decided to write a book about us and like started to get like close to me. So like even that first time that we got together, like that was all like planned, which is like romantic, right? But I didn't know about it.
Well, it wasn't planned. I don't think it was just he took an opportunity because he couldn't have known she was going to walk into a bar.
And then, it turned out to be my teacher, and
I think he talked to her on purpose, though.
Yeah. Bananas.
Anyway,
so much just beyond like the obviously gross stuff, and we've talked about it to death. But
do you think Liam will try to like out their history?
Yeah, potentially. I think he'll threaten it.
Do you think he'll do it?
No, I don't think he's gonna get there. But it because it's gonna be like, how dare you petty man, which in a sense, yes, it's very petty, but because not your circus, not your monkeys at that point, but also like I get Liam being petty.
Yeah, be petty, Liam.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for you for that one. There's not really a lot I feel like to dig into unless there's anything else you wanted to dig into. A lot of my other questions were then answered in the next episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Spencer deserves better.
Spencer does deserve better.
We don't need to like Spencer like pass it, and also like you had talked about like I would kill Caleb. I would just be strangling Caleb, and it's like we don't get any righteous anger that way. We just get Spencer being sad, and I'm like, damn, Spencer would be like, fuck you, stay away from me.
Yeah, I think she really likes him, and he treats her better than anyone else.
That's true. She did date Toby.
She dated Toby. Think about how her family treats her.
Oh, horrible.
Like, so she doesn't... What standard does she have for how the people who love you treat you?
That's fair. It's in the dirt. With Jessica.
Maybe Pepe will dig it up.
Pepe? Oh, you beautiful golden retriever, save my love life.
Where is he? What happened to him?
I hope he's okay.
Me too.
Maybe he's with Jason. We'll get a t-shirt. We'll get t-shirts printed of Pepe, and it would be like a missing pose. Have you seen this dog?
Where's Pepe? Are you ready for the next episode?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, the one other thing before we get into the next one that I was thinking of. This isn't even the first time that they brought up like that the show was cited. We're gonna address like the weirdness of like Ezria.
No, they do it multiple times and then they never commit.
No. So. Right. So season 7, episode 3, episode 143, The Talented Mr. Rollins, which is a play on the reason I wanted to bring this up because it's like I am interested in watching potentially the series and then the old movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley, which is about a con artist like going and like trying to like bring I think like a rich kid home essentially, as far as I know. But they put out a new series with Andrew Scott, the hot priest.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's why he was doing those things with those interviews with Dakota Fanning, because they're in that series together. And it's like a limited series on Netflix that's like in black and white.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there's also the 1995 movie with that Matt Damon that was supposed to be really good. It's all based on a 1955 novel. So there you go.
Got it.
Anyways, Hanna puts on a ring as Arya walks into the room and sees her like back is like all hurt. Like you see like her back is just like has like burns and cuts on the back. Arya's like, they look like burn marks, and asks if that's what happened to her when she was kidnapped, and Hanna ignores her. The friends gather and Emily catches them up and thinks that Rollins is controlling Allison. Hanna and Arya think he's okay though. Spencer notices that this all happened after they gave up Allison to AD. Emily says what is happening to her is awful. The friends are going to Welby to check up on her. Spencer's going to go see Toby to see if he has any leads. Rollins enters Allison's room and finds her missing from her bed. She attacks him and tries to choke him with like her cords from her like IV. He overpowers her though and injects her with a sedative. He then puts on a Hannibal Lecter like mask over her face. Emily, I don't know what these are actually called, but you know.
Yeah, it's like a horrific like leather head mask thing.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't open your mouth. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. This is the part that really got me. Emily, Hanna, and Arya are at the brew. Emily got a job at the Radley, sorry. Emily goes to talk to Sabrina. Arya asks Hanna if she's okay, and Hannah's like, please don't ask me that. Arya's like, I know what you're going through, and Hannah's like, it's not the same. Emily thanks Sabrina for the other night and asks her out to dinner. Sabrina says the mess with Fitz's key and whatnot, that just really left a bad taste in my mouth. Emily's like, well, I still feel terrible about that, and Sabrina's like, me too. I think I was like open like Sabrina is. I really like Sabrina. She was just like, yeah, like it sucks. Like it felt really weird that you like lied to me and like stole my boss's key and like pretended to be interested. So I don't know if you're actually interested.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully skeptical. Spencer visits and she's like straightforward, whereas everybody else is like not straightforward.
What do you mean? On this show?
I know. Spencer visits Toby's trailer and Yvonne answers the door. She's like, Toby's not here. He's working in the house. And like, oh, do you have another favor to ask him? And Spencer's like, oh, I don't want to cause problems between you two. And Yvonne's like, well, you already have. I wouldn't mind helping him. And you, if I knew, but he won't tell me anything. I can't have him disappearing again tonight. We have family coming over to celebrate. And then Spencer sees her engagement ring on her finger and is like, oh, congratulations. Actually, it's not that important. I don't need to talk to Toby right now. Emily, Arya, and... Oh no.
Who?
Oh god. Emily, Arya, and Hanna meet another doctor, and that doctor says Allison's in great hands. Arya's like, well, I think Rollins is abusing Allison, and if you don't check on her, we'll sue you and Rollins. He then escorts them to find Allison sleeping in her bed as Rollins comes in. And then he's like, well, she had a few bad days, but I'm happy to report she's doing better. And the other doctor reviews his file, and he's like, wow, look at all this stuff. Check, check, check. He's taking great care of her. Spencer comes home and tells Caleb about the Kavanaugh engagement. Spencer says, it got me thinking about us. I've wanted this for a really long time. It's been great, but everything changed when Hanna disappeared. Caleb's like, well, I promised to keep her safe, so I felt responsible. Spencer's like, well, she's back and you're still distant. Why? You two were alone together that night, like at the lodge. Did something happen? Caleb's like, well, we kissed, and gives a bunch of dumb excuses of like, oh, you know, it was like us just going back for a moment, blah, blah, blah. Spencer's like, well, Spencer's pissed and says, I can handle a kiss, but do you still have feelings for her? Caleb won't answer, and Spencer's phone rings to a call from Jason. We then see Spencer meets with the other friends and says Jason had no idea Allison was at Welby. Rollins never called him. Spencer says she didn't have a chance to talk to Toby because he got engaged. I don't think we should involve him anymore. And Emily's like, well, it's not your call. It's not Allison's fault. She's locked up. Spencer's like, we've been on a hamster wheel all because of her. Hannah says, whether or not she did it doesn't mean she deserves to be tortured. Jason is out of town for a few days, so he can't help. Spencer says maybe Rollins locked box at the foot of his bed. You know, when you saw that when you broke into the house. Maybe that the ottoman has something to do with this. Emily sees the Mary sanitarium files in Spencer's bag and takes them. She then hands Allison's spare keys off to Arya to like go investigate as Emily heads off to work. Arya goes into Allison's house, leaving Hanna and Spencer alone. Spencer says, hey, Caleb told me what happened between you two at the Lost Woods. And Hannah's like, I'm so sorry. Spencer's like, well, you should have told me if you were still into him. Hannah's like, I'm so over Caleb.
I kissed him the other day.
I know. Caleb is my past and Jordan is my future. That's why we're kissing. Which is bold considering she gave Jordan back his ring.
And I think that's such good, like, it's such good, like, proof that she's lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing's a lie.
Right. She just has this like whole facade built up.
Spencer's really the only one not lying this season.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I don't like this version of Hanna. I find Hanna after the time jump really annoying.
Exactly. They really like kind of the idea that like so much of her character is now, and I guess even after the dollhouse, she gets kind of, to me, frustrating, but then it gets worse now.
Yeah. She's just very self-deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
She's delusional, I guess. Whereas like before she was always like brash and like bullheaded, but she was never like really, she always kind of like knew what was going on.
And it was out of a place of like kindness or love or
mm-hmm.
like a choice for other people. Like it doesn't seem like she considers anyone but herself now. And she doesn't really consider herself either.
No. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Nah. Bah. Arya breaks into the God, Brenton, the way you spelled breaks. Arya, Brakes. Breaks.
She's bumping the brakes.
Arya breaks into the locked ottoman and finds the Rollins's old medical torture devices, also liquid medicines and syringes, and a note. Arya takes them all out and then starts taking pictures of them like one by one.
This drives me fucking nuts.
Gotta take so many pictures.
Take a picture of the whole thing, just lay it out. You don't even have to touch it.
And then you can zoom in. The cameras were good enough then. Spencer sees Rollins drive up. Arya takes then individual pictures and then takes a group. And then Spencer and Hanna grill Rollins outside on Allison to stall him. He's like, I want you to stop visiting Allison. You're disturbing him or her. They push back and he says, if you keep pushing, I promise it'll be detrimental to her health. Arya packs up the ottoman and finds a printed report on the dresser and takes a picture. Rollins comes in as Arya makes a break for it. Cut to Arya coming out of back gate behind Emily and Hanna as Rollins peeks out the front door and spies on them. Arya feels bad for marrying Rollins and Allison, and Hannah's like, well, they shouldn't have gotten married. They only dated for 1 week. I forgot they wouldn't have known, I guess, about their long relationship. They look through Arya's photos. They print out the printout that Arya took was one of his credit card statement, and they see a charge for an Amish B&B the same weekend Allison and Rollins went to his family farm.
I didn't know they had Amish country B&Bs.
It makes sense.
I just I never thought about it.
I mean, it's very Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
They just drive up to Lancaster, or down, wherever. I don't know that much geography. Just that Lancaster is in Pennsylvania. Arya wants to follow up on it, and then Arya and Hanna head off to the Amish Airbnb or B&B. Emily starts her job at the Radley. She tries to call Toby, but gets his voicemail, which is bold to immediately go on your phone as soon as you start your shift. Emily sees Sabrina come in and gets seated at the
bold.
Radley.
I thought about that too. I was like, I would never.
Right? First shift. Hey, okay, before I'm already suited up. I'm out on the floor.
By herself behind the bar too.
Yeah.
I was like, what kind of training are you doing?
She knows the boss.
They're not actually training her.
No, yeah. Well, you know how to bartend. We did Scouts honor. You told us you can bartend. It's all good. Arya and Hanna are lost trying to find the B&B. Arya tells Hanna she broke up with Liam because her and Fitz are kind of back together. Arya's like, well, you're lucky. We're both lucky. I have Ezra and you have Jordan. Do you think you'll tell him what happened? And Hannah's like, stop this. Arya's like, I'm trying to help. And Hanna says, you're not. I want to forget what happened and I don't want to talk to anyone about it. Emily brings Sabrina her drink, and Sabrina is surprised that Emily works there. Emily's like, well, the conversation we had, when I took, Fitz's key, it wasn't an act. I wanted to get to know you. I was actually really interested in you. Just give me another chance. I promise I'll make it up to you. As a woman comes up, kisses Sabrina, and then sits down at the table. Arya and Hanna walk through the woods to the B&B as a little Amish girl watches them. Emily talks to Spencer on her break about making a fool of herself. Spencer found that the handwritten note that was found in Rollins's ottoman was ingredients to make latex, and Emily's like, it's in gloves, and Spencer's like, no, like in masks, as the one we found on the Hanna doll. Spencer also sees he has blue contacts in the trunk. She says when Allison was checked into Welby, she thought she saw her mother and Wilden. The contacts must have been used for the disguise. Hanna and Arya arrive at the B&B, and Hanna sees the Amish girl again and goes to follow her. Hanna talks to her, and Arya comes up and joins them. The girl's name is Eliza. Arya tells Hanna that Rollins' family doesn't own a farm around here. Eliza says, you two look like my dolls, like the one Charlotte's gave me, which is a weird thing to say about Barbie dolls. Eliza shows them all, and they're just literally Barbie dolls. But
they all have special names, and she's not allowed to have dolls with faces.
Right. Oh, is that literally the faces part? I missed that faces line.
Oh, yeah. When she tells them later when she has to hide them, she's like, you have to help me hide them because he'll take them if he sees them, her dad or whatever, because she's not allowed to have dolls with faces.
Jesus.
I think that's a thing.
That's wild.
I don't speak for on the Amish. Let me Google this, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
I know the pictures thing, but Eliza shows them all her dolls that look like them. Eliza likes the Allison doll the most because it looks like Charlotte. Charlotte and Rollins used to come to the farm all the time, and she saw them kissing once, but she wasn't supposed to tell, and asked if Charlotte will come back. Oops. Eliza has to hide the dolls before she's caught with them and runs off. Arya asks how much better did Charlotte get if she was still naming dolls after us, and Hannah's like, well, not much. A man steps into the barn and tells him to leave. Sabrina comes up to Emily, and Emily says, you don't have to explain anything. Sabrina's like, well, she's not my girlfriend. She's my ex. I heard what you said, and I judged you too quickly. Why don't we start over and get dinner this week? Emily smiles and says yes. Sabrina says, I didn't even want another drink. I just wanted an excuse to talk to you. It was very cute. But also, this is the point where I turned to you, and I went, I think this is like the gayest this show has been, where it's just like, lesbian exes are just getting like dinner together and just like kissing each other as they're greeting. Arya and Hanna slowly leave the B&B. Hanna notices a cattle prod hanging on the fence and freaks out. She's like, that's what they used on me. Arya says, I'm so sorry. Rollins will pay for what he did to you, I promise. Caleb comes to talk to Spencer in the main house. He wants to talk, and Spencer's like, later. He pushes the talk. He's like, there's a part of me that will always love Hanna, but it's you who I want to be with. Spencer's like, if Hanna wanted you now, would that change things? Caleb's like, no. After that time in Madrid, I wanted to be with you and list all the things he likes about her. Spencer's like, that's the problem. You like me, but I love you. Oof. I want to be with someone who loves me too. Caleb asks for a chance to make it right, and Spencer's like, I don't know that I can. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Also, Troyan putting on a clinic. Toby and Yvonne have their engagement party as Emily walks up. He goes to talk to her. Emily being like, I don't care. He goes to talk to her and asks if they could talk tomorrow. And Emily's like, well, Allison is in trouble. And she's being abused by Rollins. Toby's like, well, she killed Charlotte. Emily's like, well, probably, but if we can prove that Allison is being abused, we can expose AD. She hands Toby Mary's file and says, maybe there's a connection here between Mary and Rollins. Toby says, I'll call you later. And Emily's like, well, we don't have much time, so... Rollins comes home and finds the key to the ottoman is in the wrong light fixture. He packs everything up there in his murder bag. Emily tells Spencer her and Caleb will get back in place like when they get back to DC. Spencer's like, I don't think that'll happen. With like Rollins and Allison. She also says all the medicines don't have to do with Allison's condition. Emily looks through the pictures and sees that only one of the liquids has a lot drained. Spencer's like, that one's a stimulant. If you take enough of that, you have hallucinations and disordered thoughts. They agree Rollins is giving that to her at Welby. Allison wakes up and finds Rollins next to her. He's next to her in her room. He says, change of plans. Emily wants to go to the police, but Spencer and Hanna agree that they don't have enough evidence. Spencer finds the file for Mary is gone, and Emily's like, oh, I gave it to Toby. Spencer's mad that he's involved, and Emily's like, well, Allison's life trumps what you want. And Hanna says if we go to the cops, we have to tell them that we think she killed Charlotte. Emily got a text from Rollins with his location and a text that says SOS. They're like, oh, Allison must be using Rollins's phone, letting him know where she's being taken. We see Allison is riding in the car with Rollins, pretending to be sedated. Toby's working on his computer, and Yvonne comes out of the trailer asking if this is related to why Emily was there. Toby's like, oh no, like she just came by to tell me Allison was okay. Yvonne asks him to come to bed, and he's like, well, I'll be there as soon as I can. He finds a moving violation for an Ella Rollins from 1958. My God. Rollins drives into the woods as the friends follow. They realize he's heading for the lake. They take a shortcut to beat him there. Rollins runs over something that makes a noise, surprising him, and Allison takes the chance to attack him. The car stops and she runs off. He follows after her. The friends see her run across the road, and then they run over Rollins. He goes through the goddamn windshield, and the friends say he's dead. It's super gory because like a bunch of blood spills out of his mouth, and we get like this big close-up shot on his
Welcome
face.
to Freeform.
That's right. The end.
Okay.
Coming out swinging.
So I guess let's start with Hanna. Hanna and the fake ring. Why not just tell your friends you ended your engagement?
Just tell your friends. What does it matter?
All the lying, like the pointless lying on this really gets me because it seems so out of character for these characters.
Mm-hmm. Especially Hanna she wouldn't want to talk about it, but she would be like, yeah, we're not together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's Hanna. Hanna is like, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm just not going to give you the information.
Do you think she's lying about it to keep herself away from Caleb for like Spencer's sake?
Yeah, probably.
Is that like why she lies about Jordan to Spencer?
Yeah. Ugh. Caleb have such bad vibes.
I know.
Both of them have such bad vibes, especially more so Caleb.
Right? They killed the one good character. I mean, not killed literally.
Yeah. But. Well, now we have Sabrina. That's our new best romantic interest.
That's true. I guess with Hanna, like Hannah's traumatized. Mm. Arya is like, why don't you want to talk about it? And I'm like, girly pop, do you not remember When you came out of the dollhouse and all you did was take pictures of creepy dolls and you refused to talk about it.
Yep. It's so funny. There's so many contradictions with Arya, especially if we had watched the Mike's Mike second recap. And you also brought this up too. The where it's like to Mona, where she's like, oh, why would someone like she tells Mona that she should have died.
Yeah, she tells Mona she should have died. She should have snapped her neck when she fell off the cliff. And then later Mona's like, oh, I should have died when I fell off that cliff. And Arya's like, don't say that. You can't ever say that. And I'm sure if you listen to this podcast, you've seen that clip and like those clips edited together because like
it's so funny.
Very popular on the internet, but it cracks me up every time.
That's just Arya's MO. She's just living life and not thinking too much about what she said before.
I'm ready to hang a sign, bitch can see. That's another great Arya line.
Yeah, but I mean, then she's just like, I'm not internally consistent. I know that for me, maybe like that I didn't want to talk about it, but like I know it's good for you to talk about it, so I'm gonna poke. Prod.
But so Hannah's already traumatized, and then Hannah's the one that hits Rollin with the car.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
To do to Hanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's a way for her to feel like, oh well,
good, I killed him.
Yeah, he can't hurt me anymore.
So then that's the other reason why I think it's like this is what Hanna would have wanted. It's like Hanna is like catatonic and like freaked out while the friends are being like, we need to do this for Hanna. I'm assuming Hanna is going to be like a mess. But I wish it was like, fuck him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I girl bossed him with this car.
The girl bossification.
That's right. Girl bossification of Rollins.
Okay.
I mean, 6 feet under.
Speaking of girl bosses, let's talk about Allie in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get shades of old Allison.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put her in a cage, apparently. Because they made her so boring and so dull, and they really took away her edge. And then now I'm like, she tried to kill him with her cords. She unhooked her own medical cords to try to strangle him.
Jumped from like the wall. And it's like, it's great. That's a great scene. But also, again, very confusing to someone who watched the episode 2 prior and being like, wait, wasn't she just wheeled out? But I love that. It was a great scene.
Also, she texts them off of Rollins' phone, her location.
Oh, that's so good. And he doesn't notice the entire time as he's like driving her.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Gets out of the car and runs. We love that.
Yeah. Also, like, it looks like Rollins is so fast.
Which means, like, how fast is Allie?
I know.
She's on drugs.
Exactly. He's giving her stimulants. She can fucking run, like, all the way back to Rosewood.
I don't think she has the stimulants anymore. I think once he locked her up, she stopped making her hallucinate.
That makes sense.
She can run all the way back to Rosewood. What do you think he was going to do to her at the lake?
That one is I don't know what the plan was of getting her out of there. Does he just think that he can't control her anymore? So he's going to like take her somewhere private to hold her captive? I guess. That's my best guess.
He doesn't know Allison then.
Yeah. But also it should have, yeah. It's a really dumb move because you had complete control from his perspective at like Welby. So it's like, why move her?
Because people are asking questions.
Fair enough. But like the doctors are like, wow, you're doing such a good job. I looked at her file. Wow, buy the book. We love you, Rollins.
Why would a man with a British accent, 1, pretend not to have it, but 2, pretend that he was from Amish country? Like, why Amish country?
Yeah. And why take a dead person's name? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Why?
How was Rollins born in 1958? What is Rollins?
The actual name?
Yeah. Benjamin. Just trying to think of something British. Benjamin.
Boy, come. That's right. My name's Sir William.
Oh my gosh. We're tragic over here. Henry
Kissinger?
Why would he be bringing Charlotte to Amish country the time he was supposed to be out of town with Allie? How did that work? How is he doing that?
It's because he brought her to the B&B, and that's the B&B that we saw her fall down.
At Amish country?
I thought so.
Oh.
Wait, no, but that
I thought
doesn't
they
line
went
up
somewhere
because
else.
they go somewhere else. So he's just pretending.
This was he went there according to his credit card statement.
There was a week where she was gone.
Yeah, where she was
And they
gone and she
mention
was supposed to be visiting his family.
Yeah.
His family farm.
So that makes me think that Allison also knew that that was not his family farm. Because
What does Allison know about him?
yeah,
What does Allie know?
why would she lie about that being his family farm?
Or did he take her somewhere and say, this used to be my family farm?
And now no one lives here? None of my family lives here?
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I mean, yeah.
How did Charlotte and Rollins meet?
God, like if it's before the Radley? Sorry.
Yeah, or what? Yeah. Is he actually a doctor?
I think he is actually a doctor.
Okay.
Much like Ren.
But he's operating under a different name?
That's where it gets tricky. I don't know.
What's his history, you know?
I truly am lost on the Rollins of it all.
You're not rolling with it.
I'm trying to. I'm having a real hard time. I guess that he's always been connected to Mary.
Okay. I'm into it.
Because I'm assuming Mary hid out in London, or at least England.
Jesus Christ, we need help.
Or hid out, where she escaped to. That was essentially where she was lying low, was in the UK.
Okay.
So maybe she's somehow meets with him.
There's so many noises and so few words.
It's the gears grinding and just barely eking out anything. So then he came over and pretended to be a doctor and then like fell in love with her daughter. And then for some reason, that's like an endearing thing to her.
I don't know.
When did she ever know about that her mom was Mary and it wasn't Jessica? Or was she pretend? I still think she was pretending to be Jessica.
Okay.
This would really help if Charlotte was alive.
I bet the girls feel the same way.
Yeah, probably. It's so funny. It's like all about like Charlotte's murder and there's just no hide nor hair of anything about her.
Okay. Is Elliot the one making the masks? If so, he's very talented.
Yeah, he's making homemade masks.
Identical to people's faces.
I know. With his own ingredients to make latex. He's mixing up latex.
Do you think he's just getting the supplies for someone else, or do you think he's making the masks?
I'd say he's probably making the masks.
Okay.
Unless they have a mask maker on the AD team. Calling in whatever the hell his name was. Remember the last episode. I have to watch that mask maker again. I can't remember that guy's name.
Oh yeah, the guy at the I almost said at the lagoon, but he's at the lake.
It does look like a lagoon though.
Okay, Spencer.
In vibe, the lake is a lagoon.
Spencer's being way too cool about this Caleb Hanna thing. As you said, I was like, I would have fucking screamed at Caleb. I would have screamed probably at Hanna, which, and then I would have gone a little crazy. Spencer's "You Like Me, But I Love You." Absolutely fucking heartbreaking.
Devastating.
One of the best like heartbreaking scenes on the show, I think.
Absolutely, it's top tier. I would have a hard time thinking of another one that might go.
I think that's almost better than her yelling though, because I was thinking about this and like when you yell, you give the person you're yelling at something to be angry about and like a reason to go on defensive and like satisfaction. And in this case, now he just has to go home and feel like shit.
Yeah.
The times I didn't yell back at people were usually the times that like they came crawling back faster. I'm not saying that's a positive thing, but do with that what you will.
But it's devastating. It hits absolutely like gut punch. Best scene of the episode.
Do we think Emily and Sabrina will get together?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think they'll be happily ever after?
Oh no. Well, it seems like we're really gonna end up with Emerson. But I think Emily and Sabrina are gonna get together. because there's just so much of Emily going out of her way to have them find Allison above and beyond everybody else and doing her own thing that it just seems like. And we also got flashbacks to them kissing in the previous episode and like their like history together. And even when she goes, Allison is calling Emily of like, Em, come help me. And then also when she's having delusions of when they were younger, they were going to go to Paris together. So it's like delusions of that. We don't have our plane tickets. It's just going to end up that way. But for a brief moment, it'll be fun with Sabrina.
And last but not least, where's Mona?
Where is Mona? That's what we should be asking every episode. There's no Mona. Where's Mona?
It's been a while.
Since last season? No. Was she in the last episode? Was she in the first? Yeah, she was in the first episode.
Okay.
She was rolling around with Caleb, which was good stuff. Did enjoy that. Caleb being.
What do you think she's up to? Did they tell her they got Hanna back?
Did anybody tell her they got Hanna back? I assume so.
Just a quick text.
But we don't know. Yeah, just a quick text. Just send it over.
That's all I got for you to this week.
Yeah. Still my favorite scene since the time jump is Caleb being like, Mona.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
All right. So, well, time to take some stabs in the dark. Let's step into Theory Corner. Welcome to Theory Corner, everybody. Well, Rollins is dead. Long live Rollins. Okay, so piggybacking off what I was saying earlier, that Mary is, and what I've said before, Mary is coming back into the States to try and get revenge on the De Laurentiis family. She doesn't want to like kill them and bury them. She's not going that far, but she wants to bury them. Like she wants to take all their money and whatnot and like essentially just embarrass them, expose all their secrets eventually, and just generally do like subterfuge on them. Okay, so maybe she joined up with Rollins in the UK and he had a way to be able to tend to be a doctor, I guess, or okay. I'm not going to even begin to try and guess of what the hell Rollins is doing of like taking this Elliot Rollins name and he's going to be Lyndon James or Lyndon Johnson. I can't possibly guess what the hell. I can guess that maybe a fake name maybe the doctor thing is to be able to get close to Charlotte. And then that's when he meets Charlotte and they fall in love.
But I would assume he has other patients.
Right. So maybe he is actually a doctor, but it has to be under a fake name. I'm assuming the doctor thing, him taking on the Elliot Rollins name. Maybe Elliot Rollins was an actual doctor and he took over that name. Okay, but I do think whatever the subterfuge is there is to be able to get close to Charlotte. And then they met and started getting together and all that. But,
or is he just wearing a really good latex mask?
Oh, it could be. He had a mask under the mask. So like when he pulled off the mask at the end of season 6, there's another mask underneath. Oh, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. That wasn't actually Rollins. They ran over at someone else.
Oh,
that'd be so funny.
That's so funny.
But I do think he's dead, and I do think that's who they're burying. And I do think that they had joined forces to try and get the money from the Karasimi group and are running a con on them, but that Rollins is sticking his neck out too far and that AD is kind of doing things on their own, but is more aligned with Mary than with Rollins to do these things. But I think they're all kind of working together, but like, I'm assuming, okay, so with Hanna being captured, I'm assuming it was Rollins that hit with the cattle prod and wasn't AD. But like AD is still helping capture them and things. But I think the more sadistic side is like coming from Rollins. Was.
Okay.
So, and again, it's trying to get like a con on the De Laurentiis and restore some sort of, some sort of revenge for Charlotte and everything that happened to Charlotte in a way, and also by proxy Mary. It's maybe in the name of Charlotte, but like really prompted by Mary.
Okay.
And some other family lineage maybe related to the De Laurentiis.
I respect it. I see it.
Yeah. I think that's all I have for now, though.
That's okay.
Okay. So, with that, thank you so much for joining us. We'll bid you all goodbye.
Any final thoughts?
No.
They're kind of meh episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, but until
agree.
Rollins goes through the windshield.
Yes, exactly. That saves the episode. But like I said, I think actually Troyan does an amazing job in these episodes.
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Pulls you through it.
It really does.
So,
well,
on to better weeks.
Yeah.
And you can find
you can find this podcast on all of your major platform players at Dead Ends. You can find us on YouTube at dead_ends. And if you want to send an email, or you want something you want us to talk about, or you have any recommendations for someone who can help create music for our Law seasons, you can email deadendspcast@gmail.com. You can also always leave a comment on YouTube. We love our comments. We love talking to people in the comments. We have a lot of fun with that. And rate and review. 5 stars.
Give us
5 stars. Yeah, please give us 5 stars. We need it now more than ever.
Please.
We're so tired.
With the move and everything. Come on, guys.
They're like, we don't give a shit that you moved.
They're like, we don't...
This has nothing to do with us. Yeah. We just talk about Pretty Little Liars.
I like the podcast better before they moved.
People are gonna be like, wow, they moved really... and the podcast just changed.
It's like the time jump.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. Well,
we're still here. We're gonna find out.
Did you have to find the camera?
Yep. So I was looking at the monitor. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1.
There's only one camera. Okay, love you. Bye.